What are the steps I can take to ensure my previous years of being stagnant aren't a lasting effect on my family? It's actually a good question. So, a very similar question. I get this all the time, and I'm going to use the gym to kind of relate to this. People always ask me, they're like, hey, I've got vacation or I've got this thing going on, and I have to take, 2 weeks out of the gym. How much is that going to set me back as far as my progress is concerned? You're going to shit yourself when I give you the answer to this question. So if you're going on a 2-week vacation and you want to know how far it's going to set back your progress, it's going to be 2 weeks, bro. And so to answer your question, Steve, I think the same thing kind of applies. Is as if you spent the first 10 years of your relationship with your wife or the relationship with your children or yourself and your family, you're now 10 years behind, right? 10 years wasting that, 10 years failing to show up, 10 years to be the man. Now, am I telling you to go to a full sprint? No, I'm not telling you to go into a full sprint. The past is the past. And the more time you spend looking behind you, the less time you're spending looking in front of you. Your children aren't going to blame you unless you fail to learn from your mistakes. Eventually, they're going to come to a point where they're going to be like, holy shit, man, my dad, he figured it out. And that's what they're going to remember. Everybody wants to talk about the comeback. Okay. So the thing that I want to share with you is I've got a 14-year-old daughter. I think your kids are around the same age. Yeah. And we'll just say that my relationship with my daughter has been very rocky over the years. So what it came down to was my daughter has a certain degree of resentment for me because me and her mom are no longer together. And because of that divorce and all the trauma and the things that occurred throughout that divorce, continuing on after the fact, going through custody battles and going to court and playing this back and forth game. And who's the one who really had to take the brunt of the trauma that came from the divorce? It's the kids. More specifically, my oldest, because she was old enough to kind of understand what was going on, and it was affecting her the most. I'm not going to make it up to her by going back and getting with their mom. I'm going to make it up to her by being the man that I promised her I was going to be when she was born. And I say this all the time. When you get married, you're not making a commitment to her that you're going to stand by her. You're going to be loyal to her. Think about your vows. Think about who you are speaking that before. Is it her? You're saying it to her, but who are you presenting that promise to? You're doing it before God, right? The commitment of marriage isn't about her. You're committing to God that you will stay loyal to her, and you're committing to yourself that you will serve her. And when you fail to fulfill that commitment and you divorce, that's part of the reason why it's been so difficult for me over these years, is because I failed God. I failed myself, did not fail my wife. To take that to the next level, when you have a child with someone, who are you making a commitment to? The person that you had the child with, or the child? The child. When you choose to conceive and have a child, what you are saying to that baby is, I'm going to be your father, and I'm going to stand by you, and I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to lead and show you what right looks like. And so this kind of leads into the conversation that I'm going to go into for you, Steve, is there's guilt that you're carrying because you don't feel like you've showed up as the best husband. You don't feel like you've showed up as the best father. How long do I have to continue to pay for my failures is really what you asked, right? You have to understand that it's not about that. It's never been about you. And that's the problem that we have as fathers and the world that we live in is we live in this place where we seek validation. We seek appreciation. We want people to tell us that we're doing a good job and be proud of us when we're not even fucking proud of ourselves. And so you asked me, what are the steps I can take to ensure my previous years of being stagnant aren't a lasting effect on my family? Isn't to go back in time and change your actions and try to make up for those things as if you have to be some martyr. Is to come to a place where you are capable and willing and able to look in the mirror and stand completely naked before God in a place of integrity with yourself. And if you can wake up every fucking day and do that, then you've done your duty. You've fulfilled your commitment. Does that answer your question? All right.